Salt and Rain. A short story set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. The rain came sideways, a curtain of salt and cold hurled in by the ocean winds. On the bluffs above the shoreline settlement of Kaipo, the storm beat against armor and bare skin alike. The Obsidian Spears stood unmoved, statues in sea steel and basalt black, their presence barely noted by the few humans braving the weather below, to mend fishing nets or anchor boats. Kaipo clung to the edge of the cliffs like a stubborn barnacle. The buildings were half-sunken things, low structures made from driftwood lashed together with cabling, plated over with sheets of salvaged starship hulls. Rusted metal chimed in the wind like distant bells. Smoke rose from a few chimneys, thin and ragged, quickly stolen by the gale. Brother Atamai watched from a height, the helm at his belt, salt streaking down his scarred cheek. He had stood in hurricanes before, beneath the acid rains of Vetrix Prime and the blood hail of Cygnus VIII. But this simple storm felt quiet. Behind him, Brother Kura adjusted the sling of his bolter and nodded toward the docks. They fix nets in a storm like this. Atamai answered after a pause, "Yes." "Huh." That was all Kura said, but the single grunt carried weight. Not disbelief, not derision, just a quiet sort of admiration laced with confusion. Below, a hunched figure paused to look up. An old woman, skin-leathered and tough as reef rock, stood with hands on hips as she met Atamai's gaze. She didn't flinch, didn't bow, didn't run. A moment passed. Then she spat over the side of the dock and returned to mending. Kura chuckled under his breath, a low sound like surf rolling over stone. She just spit at the sea. "She's lived her whole life beside it," Atamai said. "Maybe she thinks it listens." The two Astartes were silent for a time. A child's laughter broke through the rain, high, clear, unafraid. A girl no older than 7, barefoot in the storm, chasing the wind with a length of sailcloth fluttering behind her like a cape. A man, her father maybe, called after her, scolding, but there was no anger in his voice. "Children," Kura said, "during an invasion." Atamai turned. "The orcs are gone, the tide has shifted, this is their victory." "They're small," Kura muttered. "So fragile, and yet they rebuild, after fire, after steel, after things no child should see." Another silence, then more softly, "Why do we do this, brother?" Atamai didn't answer right away. He looked down at his own hands, calloused even through armor, crafted to kill. Then he looked again at the humans below, at their resilience, their laughter, their refusal to stop. "For them," he said at last. "Because even when the Imperium forgets them, they do not forget how to live." Kura grunted again, a nod of agreement. "Storm's easing, we should return." "We should..." But neither moved, not for a little while. The rain kept falling. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more.